We continue now at the top of Daf Kuf Yud Amud Beis Masechah Sanhedrin. This is Sanhedrin Daf 110b. On the previous Amud, the Gemara said that Rabbi Bar Bar Chana said one time he was walking, and a particular Arab said, "I'm going to show you where Korach's congregation, where they are swallowed up by the earth." And he showed him a particular area, two fissures in the ground where smoke was coming out, and he could hear that they were saying Moshe v'Toraso emes v'hein badoyim. They were saying that Moshe and his Torah is true, and they themselves are liars. And the Gemara now continues the story. Amar Lei, that particular Arab, he said to Rabbi Bar Bar Chana, called Tlosin Yom in Mahadrelu Gehenim Kibasar Betoch Kalachas. Every 30 days, Gehenim actually returns them to this place like meat that is cooking inside the cauldron. V'amri hachi, and they say exactly this: Moshe v'Torah so emes, Moshe and his Torah are true. V'hein badoim, and they are liars. Again, referring to themselves. And Rashi explains, Amar Le'ahutaya, that particular Arab, he said to him, called Tlosin Yomin Mahadrelu Gehenim Hachi. Every 30 days, Gehenim returns them to this area. V'amri hachi, and they say this: Moshe v'Torah so emes. And the point, says Rashi, is Shenisa Kame Po'amim, that this particular Arab, he tested this out several times. V'ro, and he saw Shekol Lamed Yom, that every 30 days, Ashan Yotze Misham, the smoke comes out of there. V'shomei, and then he hears Sha'omrim, that they are saying Moshe v'Torah so emes, etc., that they're saying this line of Moshe v'Torah so emes v'hein badoim. And the Gemara continues at the two dots. The Mishnah said, Dor HaMidbar, the generation of the wilderness, Ein Laim Chelik Le'olam Haba, they do not have a portion in the world to come. And the Gemara says, Tanu Rabbanan, the rabbis taught, the Dor HaMidbar, Ein Laim Chelik Le'olam Haba, the generation of the wilderness, they do not have a portion in the world to come. Shenemar, as it says in the Pasuk, Bamidbar Hazeh Yitamu V'sham Yamusu, it says, in this wilderness they'll be consumed, and there they will die. And we understand that to mean Yismu B'olam Hazeh, they're going to be consumed in this world. V'sham Yamusu B'olam Haba, and there they will die. That refers to Olam Haba. They will not have a share in Olam Haba. V'yamar, and it also says, Asher nishbati v'yapi, that I take an oath in my anger, im yevon el menuchasi, if they come to my resting place, meaning to say, they are not going to come to Olam Haba. Divrei Rabbi Akiva, these are the words of Rabbi Akiva. And Rashi explains, Shenemar, as it says in the Pasuk, Le'el minei kra mem shana kut bedor. Before this in the Pasuk it says, 40 years, Dahainu Dor HaMidbar. That's a reference to the Dor HaMidbar. So you see that this Pasuk of Asher nishbati v'yapi, im yevon el menuchasi, is talking about the Dor HaMidbar, and it's saying they will not have a share in Olam Haba. Again, that's Rabbi Akiva's opinion. And Rashi explains, Shenemar, as it says in the Pasuk, Le'el minei kra, earlier the Pasuk says, Mem shana akut bedor. It says, Arboim shana akut bedor, earlier in that Pasuk. The Hainu Dor HaMidbar talks about 40 years. That's talking about the generation of the wilderness, that they were 40 years in the Midbar. And again, that Pasuk goes on to say, Asher nishbati v'yapi im yevon el menuchasi, that they will not have a share in Olam Haba. And again, that is Rabbi Akiva's opinion. And the Brisa continues, Rabbi Eliezer says, La'olam Haba, they actually are going to come to Olam Haba. The Girsa, the proper Girsa, should be Boyin Hein La'olam Haba. They will come to Olam Haba. Shenemar, as it says in the Pasuk in Tehillim, Isfuli Chasidoi, Korsei Brisi Alei Zevach. It says, gather to me my righteous ones. That's referring to the Dor HaMidbar. Gather them to me. They will have a share in Olam Haba. Elamani Mekayim Asher Nishbati V'yapi. Now, what am I going to do with the Pasuk which says that I took an oath in my anger? It sounds like they don't have a share in Olam Haba. No, what that means is Bi'api Nishbati, that I took an oath in my anger. V'chozrani, but then when I calmed down, so to speak, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, then I retracted that oath, and they in fact do have a share in Olam Haba. And the Gemara continues, Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha, Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha says, Lo nemar pasuk zel keneged doros haboim. This pasuk actually is in reference to the future generations, meaning when it says, Isfuli chasidai, gather to me my righteous ones, that's talking actually about doros haboim, and it means as follows, Isfuli chasidai, gather to me my righteous ones, elu tzadikim, shebechol dor vador, that's talking about the tzadikim in every generation, they're going to be gathered to me. And then the pasuk continues, Korsei Brisi, those who join my covenant, elu Chananya, Mishal, V'Azariah, that refers to Chananya, Mishal, and Azariah, shemasru atzman l'soch kevesh ha'esh, that they place themselves in the furnace, and alei zevach, when the pasuk says alei zevach, Elu Rabbi Akiva v'chaveirav, that refers to Rabbi Akiva and his colleagues, shemosru atzman l'shchita al divrei Torah, that they gave themselves over to be slaughtered over divrei Torah. They are all going to have a share in Olam Haba. And the Brisa continues, Rabbi Shimon ben Manasseh, Rabbi Shimon ben Manasseh says, Boim hein li Olam Haba, again the Dor HaMidbar, they will come to Olam Haba. Shenemar, as it says in the Pasuk, Ufiduya Hashem Yeshuvun, Uvo Tzion Berina, those who are redeemed by Hashem, they will return and come to Tzion. And the Gemara continues in comment. Samar Rava bar bar Chana Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Rava bar bar Chana says that Rabbi Yochanan says, Shavka Rabbi Akiva lachasidusa. Rabbi Akiva, in this regard, he left his piousness, meaning to say, he interpreted the pasuk in a very harsh manner by saying that the Dor HaMidbar does not have a share in Olam Haba. And how do we know that? Shenamar, as it says in the pasuk, Halach v'karasa bazni Yerushalayim lemor, call to the ears of Yerushalayim, saying, Zacharti lo chesed neurayach. I remember the chesed, the kindness of the days of your youth, meaning I remember Avas klulosayach lechtech acharei b'midbar be'eretz lo zerua, how you followed me in the wilderness. And what's that pasuk really saying? It's saying that we in the future, we get a certain benefit, a certain zechus, because of the fact that in our youth, in that early generation, we followed HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the midbar, and so therefore it's clear, if others get to take from that merit, people in the future get to benefit from that merit of the fact that they followed HaKadosh Baruch Hu into the midbar. So so that generation themselves, lo kol shekain, is it not all the more so true that they will benefit, they will in fact have a share in Olam Haba. And the Gemara continues with the Mishnah, Aseres HaShvatim, the 10 tribes, Einon Asidin Lachzor, in the future they will not return, meaning to say in the days of Mashiach they will not return to Eretz Yisrael. Shenemar, as it says in the Pasuk, Vayashlichem el Eretz Acheres Kayom Hazeh, it says that he sent them to another land like this day, and we darshan the Pasuk to mean, Mahayom holech ve'enon chozer, just like the day, it goes and it's never coming back. Afheim holchim ve'enon chozrim, so too, they went and they are not returning. Divrei Rabbi Akiva, these are the words of Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Eliezer says, Kayom hazeh, what it actually means is like the day, Mayom mafilu meir, just like the day, it gets dark, but it does get light again. Af aseres hashvatim, so too the 10 tribes, Shafeila lehen, it was dark for them, Kach hasida lahayar lahem, so too it will become light for them once again in the future. And Rashi explains, Kayom hazeh, like this day, Mahayom mafil, just like the day it gets dark, Baboker afal v'tzarayim meir, in the morning it's still dark, but by the afternoon it's light, Inami be'erev afal, or you can interpret it that in the evening it's dark, V'holech u'lemacharaso meir, and then the next day it's light. In any case, Af aseres hashvatim, so too the 10 tribes, Asidin lach, so they will return, meaning lios lem chelik liolam haba, they will have a chelik in the world to come. And Rashi continues and explains, Lo bivneim uvnei vneim kamer, we're not talking here about their descendants, their sons and grandchildren. Ela oson shagalu atzman, we're talking really about those who were exiled themselves, those actual members of the 10 tribes at that time. Ein lohem chelik, we're saying they don't have a portion, shereshoim gemurin, because they're fully wicked. Avol b'neim v'doros haboyim zochin u'mazakin, but their sons and the generations that will come in the future, they will merit and they will bring merit. And the Gemara says, Tanu Rabbanon, the rabbis taught, Aseres HaShvatim, the 10 tribes, Ein Lahem Chelek Li'olam Haba, they don't have a portion in the world to come. Shenemar, as it says in the Pasuk, Vayitchem Hashem Me'al Ad Mosam Bi'afu V'chemu V'ketzef Gadol, it says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu uproots them from their land with anger. And we understand the Pasuk to mean as follows, Vayitchem Hashem Me'al Ad Mosam, that's B'olam Haza, that's in this world. Vayashlichem El Eretz Acheres, and he sent them to another land, L'olam Haba, that's a reference to Olam Haba. They will not have a share in Olam Haba. Divrei Rabbi Akiva, these are the words of Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Shimon ben Yehuda ish Kfar Akko Omer, Rabbi Shimon ben Yehuda, the man of the village of Akko, he says, Mishum Rabbi Shimon, in the name of Rabbi Shimon, Im ma'aseyam kayom hazeh, if their deeds are like this day, meaning they don't repent, einon chozron, then they don't return. V'im la, but if not, chozron, then they in fact will return. Rabbi Omer, Rabbi says, Boim heim lo Olam Haba, they will come to Olam Haba. Shenemar, as it says in the Pasuk, Bayomo yitaka b'shofar gadol v'gomer, it says on that day, he will blow the great shofar. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rava bar bar Chana, Rabbi Yochanan, Rava bar bar Chana says that Rabbi Yochanan says, Shavka Rabbi Akiva l'chasidus, Rabbi Akiva abandoned his piousness. Again, he interpreted the Psukim very strictly with regards to the Aseres HaShvatim. Shenemar, as it says in the Pasuk, Halach v'karasas advaram ha'ila tzafona, v'yamarta shuva mishuva Yisrael num Hashem, that they'll return, v'lo apil panai b'chem, ki chased ani num Hashem. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I am pious, lo eter li'olam, I'm not going to hold a grudge forever. And Rashi explains, Tanur Rabbanan Aseres HaShvatim Ein Lam Chelek L'Olam Haba Shenemar Vayitchem Hashem Me'al Mosam. Rashi says, V'istim Afarshi. There are those who explain, what does this really mean? It means Aseres HaShvatim Ein Lam Chelek L'Olam Haba Hainu Limos HaMashiach. When it says that the 10 tribes don't have a share in the world to come, some explain it means in the days of Mashiach. Shlo Yekavlam Mashiach Im Shar Goliath, that Mashiach will not accept them with the other members of the exile. Lefi Shesipra B'Gnus Eretz Yisrael, because they spoke badly about Eretz Yisrael, Kedamrin La'el, like we said earlier, of a davar hazen nen shemuraglim. It was in this matter that the meraglim were punished. Rabbi Shimon says, "My kayom hazeh." What does it mean, kayom hazeh? Lomar lach to say to you, "In maaseim kayom hazeh." If they continue their deeds like this day, then lo yehei lam chelik leolam haba. Then they won't have a chelik in olam haba v'im lav. But if not, sheyachzur b'tshuva. If they do teshuva, yachzur gam hem migolas. Then they also will return from the exile. V'yesh lam chelik leolam haba, and they will have a portion in the world to come. And the Gemara brought a pasuk ha'ovdim beretz asher elo yod hashvatim. That part of the pasuk is a reference to the 10 tribes. V'hanidochem beretz Mitzrayim, and when it says hanidochem beretz Mitzrayim, elo dor hamidbar, that's the generation of the midbar. V'chein lashon atosefta, and that is the language of the Tosefta. V'lo shamati od, I didn't hear further. Shuva meshuva shekol Yisrael. What the pasuk means is all of Klal Yisrael, asid and lachzor, in the future, they will return. And the Gemara continues, "My chasidu say, what is this piousness of Rabbi Akiva that was just mentioned above?" The Tanya, because we learned in a brayso, Ketane b'nei Risha Yisrael, the minor children of the wicked of Israel, ein boyin lo'olam haba, they will not come to olam haba. Shenemar, as it says in the pasuk in Malachi, Kineh hayom ba boer katan, the day that's burning like an oven, that day is coming. V'haya kol zaydim v'cholosei Risha kash v'lat osam hayom haba amar Hashem tzavakos. All the wicked on that day, says Hashem, asher lo yazov lem shorash v'yanav, there's not going to be left of them a root or a branch. And we interpret that pasuk to mean shoresh bo'olam haza, a root in this world, v'yanaf lo'olam haba, a branch in the world to come. They will not have a share in the world to come. Divrei Rabban Gamliel. These are the words of Rabban Gamliel. Rabbi Akiva says, boim heim lo'olam haba, they in fact will come. They will have a share in olam haba. That's why Rabbi Akiva is pious in this situation. He does not interpret it strictly against them. And how do we know that? Shenemar, as it says in the pasuk in Tehillim, Shomer Pisayim Hashem, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu watches over the simple ones. Shekain Korn Bekrache Ayom Liyanuka Pasya. That's what they call in the seas. They call children Pasya. They refer to them like these Psoim, like the simple ones. And so we understand that this pasuk is talking about the simple ones that Hashem protects. And Rabbi Akiva continues, V'yomer, and it also says in the pasuk, this is the pasuk in Sefer Daniel, Go do ilona v'chavloi baram ikar shorshoy be'ara shavuku. You're going to cut down the trees, but the main parts of the roots, that's going to remain in the ground. V'yalamani mekayim lo yazov lehem shorish v'yonaf. Now, says Rabbi Akiva, if that's the case, what do we do with the pasuk that says that there's not going to be any root or branch left? That simply means shelo yaniach lehem lo mitzvah v'lo shiore mitzvah. He doesn't leave for them a mitzvah or the remnant of a mitzvah, meaning the wicked. Any little mitzvah that they do, they're rewarded immediately, so that they will not get that reward in the world to come. Davar acher, another explanation, shoresh is neshama, that the shoresh, it actually refers to the neshama, the soul. V'yanaf, in the branch, zehaguf, that is a reference to the guf, it's a reference to the body. Aval ketane b'nei rishay ovdei kochavim, but the Gemara continues and says, when it comes to the minor children of the wicked, of the non-Jews, divrei hakolein boin lo'olam haba, everybody agrees they will not have a share in the world to come. The Gemara takes out the word for Rabban Gamliel, and nafkalei, that's learned out from the pasuk. The pasuk says, this is in Sefer Yeshayo, it says mi vata'abed kol zecher lamu, it says that all remembrance will be wiped out completely, and that's a reference again to the fact that they will not have a share in the world to come. And Rashi explains, Ketane b'nei Risha Yisrael, again the minor children that are the children of the wicked of Klal Yisrael. Rashi says, Risha Yisrael Atzman, the wicked of Klal Yisrael themselves, not the minors, but the actual Rishoim. Pshita dein lem chelik lolam haba. That's obvious that they do not have a share in the world to come. Kidamrin and Perak Basra to Ksubas, like we say in the last Perak of Ksubas, somebody who weakens himself from Torah, so that person again is not going to have a chelik in olam haba. The question is, when they have children that are minors who did not sin pligi, but who, that's where there's this machlokas tanoim, whether they have a share in the world to come. And shoresh va'anaf, the root and the branch, elu bonim ketanim shalahem. The first interpretation is that these young children will not have a share in the world to come, because that's what the shoresh and the anaf is actually referring to. It's referring to these young children. Shoresh ba'olam hazeh. What does it mean? Shoresh, it means in this world. Sheyamus nefalm, they're going to die. There's going to be miscarriage. And Rashi continues, V'yanaf lo'olam haba. And the Hagos Ranshberg actually takes out the word V'yanaf, because this is a Rashi explaining, according to the opinion of Rabbi Akiva, that these children do have a share in the world to come. Sha'afav v'shavosayim hayu risham, even though their fathers were wicked, heim lo chatu, they did not sin. That's why they do have a share in the world to come, according to Rabbi Akiva. And Rabbi Akiva brought the pasuk in Sefer Daniel, Ikar Shoi Biara Shavoku, that the roots remain in the ground. Elu Habonim Katanim, that's the young children. She'afal Pisha Avos Ein Lem Chelek Takana Yesh Lem, even though the fathers have no share in the world to come, but they do have a takana, they do have a solution for them, for the children. Shelo Yaniach Lem HaKadosh Baruch Hu. How do we interpret according to Rabbi Kiva the other pasuk? That means that HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't leave for the wicked lo mitzvah velo shiyorei mitzvah. He doesn't leave any remnant of a mitzvah. Lo mitzvah chamura, not a great mitzvah, velo mitzvah kala, not a light mitzvah. Hakol yehem ma'avir u'mishalim schram li'alter. He pays the wicked their reward immediately, kedei letardan min ha'olam, in order to drive them out from the world. And then there was another interpretation that the pasuk is actually a reference to the neshama and the guf. Again, not a reference to children. Zu neshama shema medis haguf. The soul stands up the body, kashoresh shema midoyin, like a root that stands up the tree. Again, in that case, the pasuk would really just be referring to Rishoyim, to the wicked in general. And then the Gemara said, Avol Ketani b'nei Rishei of the Kochavim, the minors who are children of the wicked, of the non-Jews, Davka Kamar Rishoy. Now here, we're specifically saying that they're children of the wicked. The Ilu Chasidei of the Kochavim, because when it comes to the righteous of the non-Jews, Pligi, but there's actually a machlokas, Vikal Amandamar Hein Atzman Boin. Some say they will come, Vikal Amandamar Einan Boin, and some say they will not come, Kedamar, like we said. This was said a little earlier in the Masechta. And Rashi continues, when it comes to the minor children of the wicked of the Ovdei Kochavim, everybody agrees they will not have a share in the world to come, and that's learned from the pasuk, meaning he learns it out from that pasuk. The Tana the Brisa learns it out from that pasuk, and that limud is according to everyone. The pasuk of Shoresh V'Anaf, as we said, that has different interpretations according to various opinions. And the Gemara continues, Itmar, it was stated, Katan, when it comes to a minor, Me'emasai Boli Olam Haba, from when does he come to Olam Haba? Does he have a share in the world to come? At what age, so to speak? Rabbi Chia and Rabbi Shimon bar Rebbe, that's a machlokas between Rabbi Chia and Rabbi Shimon bar Rebbe. Chad Amar Mishasha Nolad, one says from the time that he's born. V'chad Amar Mishasha Sipar, and one says from the time that he's able to speak. Ma'and Amar Mishasha Nolad, the one who says from the time he's born. Shenemar, as it says in the pasuk in Tehillim, Yavov Yagidu Tzidkaso Lam Nolad, it talks about the nation being born, Liam Nolad Kiyasa. Uman Damar Mishasha Sipar, and the one who says from the time that he speaks, Techsiv, as it's written in the pasuk, Zeri Avdenu Yisupar La Hashem Lador, it says Yisupar speaking. We'll see Rashi in a moment. And the Gemara continues, Itmar, was stated, Ravina Amar Mishasha Nizra, Ravina says that it's actually from the moment that the child is conceived. Techsiv Zeri Avdenu, it mentions Zera, that's the moment of conception. And the Gemara continues with another opinion of Nachman bar Yitzchak. Amar of Nachman bar Yitzchak says, Mishasha Nimol, it's from the time that the baby has a bris milah, Techsiv, as it's written in the pasuk in Tehillim, Ani v'govea minoar nasasi emecha funa. I am poor and close to death from youth. I suffered your terrors, I am numb, and we'll see Rashi in a moment. And the Gemara continues, Tana Mishum Rabbi Meir, was taught in the name of Rabbi Meir, Mishash Yomar Amen. It's from the time that the child can say Amen, Shenemar, as it says in the pasuk in Yeshayahu, Pischu Shiorem V'Yavo Goy Tzadik Shomer Emunim. The pasuk finishes Shomer Emunim, and Al Tikre Shomer Emunim, don't read it as Shomer Emunim, Ela Sheomer Amen, rather read it as the one who says Amen. And Rashi explains, Zera Yavdenu Yisupar LaHashem Lador, Zera HaMisupar Yavdenu LaHashem Lador V'dor Sheyachzer Lo V'yichya. What it means is the seed that's able to speak from the time the child can speak. So then we say Yavdenu LaHashem Lador V'dor means that he's going to return to him and he's going to live again. Mishash and Izra, from the time that the child is conceived. Mishash and Niklat has Zera B'meisha, from the time that the seed is captured in the womb of the woman. Afilu Hi Pila Imo, according to this opinion, even if there's a miscarriage, V'nimcha, and essentially that child is wiped out, Yesh lo chelik liasad, again, he will have a portion in the future. And then the Gemara brought the pasuk on Ani v'govea minoar, means to say as follows, Afal pishani ani giviyasi chashuva gavia, even though I'm poor, but my body is considered a body, v'roi lomar alai v'yigva v'yosef, and it's fit to say about me that the person, that he died and he was gathered in, kilomar, what that part of the pasuk is saying is, shezocha ani lasad lavo, that I will merit the yasad lavo, I will merit the future, the share in the world to come. Tzadikim shenemar b'hen gavia, like the righteous, it uses the word gavia by the death of tzadikim. Ume'emasai, and from when, from what point in time is this child, does he have that share in the world to come? Mishosh ani nosei emechu fachtecha funa miskalgeles u'shchuna olai, it means to say, when there is that fear upon me, v'hainu mila, that's a reference to bris mila, shebiv saro she'anu mishamre me'imasu shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we keep the mitzvah of mila in the person's body, in his flesh, that we're doing that from the fear fear of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and we will continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Kuf Yud Aleph Amud Aleph.